What if reality was engineered? Not metaphorically, structured, measured, deliberately assembled. And what if the architects were African? Not as myth, not as folklore, but as primordial intelligences describing how existence stabilized itself from chaos. You were never taught this. You were taught pyramids, empires, gold, but not the moment before matter, not the fracture before form, not the beings who divided unity so that the world could breathe. Tonight, we are not watching history. You are boarding something older. Step forward. The vessel does not travel through space. It travels through becoming, through the layers of memory of existence itself, through the silence before vibration learned how to hum. You board. There are no stars, no sky, no earth to stand on, only depth, a pressure, a presence, a field of undifferentiated potential stretching in every direction and in none at all. Because direction has not yet been invented. You descend. The waters are not water as you know it. They are possibility, a dark continuum, no edges, no boundaries, only the tension of something about to happen. And then a sphere, suspended, trembling. Inside it, unity begins to strain against itself. Perfection folds inward. Balance destabilizes. Because for anything to exist, something must separate. You are witnessing the first decision. From this rapture will come polarity. From polarity, rhythm. From rhythm, geometry. From geometry, you. This is not a myth, it is architecture. And tonight, you will meet the architects. Welcome to Africa's Forgotten Gods, the ancient architects of reality. Phase 1. The primordial waters. Stay on the vessel. Do not look for land, there is none. You descend further. The darkness is not absence, it is density, a saturated stillness. No wind, no temperature, no sound. Yet something is here, something unbroken. You reach outward. There is no resistance, and yet there is pressure, a continuity without edge. You are inside undifferentiated being. Across the vast regions of Africa, long before empire, before scripture, this state was not described as emptiness. It was described as water, not rivers, not oceans, primordial waters. In the Nile Valley, this depth was called Nun, the limitless, inert expanse from which form would eventually rise. Among the fawn of Dahomey, before the twins, before the sky, there was Nana Buluku, an undivided totality containing all opposites within itself. You are inside that state now. No above, no below, no self. This is unity without awareness of itself. Feel what that means. No boundary, no differentiation, no I. And yet, there is potential. In modern cosmology, physicists speak carefully of a quantum vacuum, not empty, but alive with fluctuation, a field in which particles are not yet particles, but probabilities trembling beneath stillness. Do not confuse the languages. One is symbolic, one is mathematical, but both describe tension inside apparent emptiness. You begin to feel it now, a subtle instability. Unity cannot remain unexpressed forever. Something must emerge, not because of desire, because of necessity. And in that necessity lies the first movement of architecture. The water begins to compress, not violently, gradually, like a breath held too long. Across West Africa, among the Dogon, existence was imagined differently, not as endless water, but as concentration. A seed, a sphere, a cosmic egg containing the total pattern of creation. You see it now, emerging from the depth, compact, luminous, contained. This is Ama, not as a bearded god, not as a ruler, but as structural intelligence folded inward upon itself. You draw closer, closer still. Inside the sphere, symmetry strains, balance trembles, perfection becomes unstable. And you realize something unsettling. Creation is not gentle. It is pressure, resolving itself. What you are witnessing cosmically is mirrored psychologically. Before you formed an ego, before you distinguished self from world, you existed in undifferentiated awareness. Infancy echoes the waters. Individuation echoes the fracture. The cosmos is not telling you a story. It is showing you your own emergence. The sphere vibrates, not randomly, rhythmically. Oscillation begins. Inside, something misaligns. A crack in symmetry, a flaw, or perhaps a deliberate rupture. Among the Dogon, this imbalance is central. Creation begins not from perfect order, but from disturbance within perfection. A necessary deviation. You feel it now. The first instability, the first difference, the first almost. And this is where we must slow down, because what happens next will divide reality. And once division happens, or begins, there is no returning to unity as it was. Stay with it. Watch closely. The fracture is forming. Phase 2. The tension of becoming. The sphere trembles. At first, softly, a pulse, a contained rhythm, then stronger. You move closer, close enough to feel the oscillation against your own awareness. It is not chaos, it is symmetry under strain. Inside the sphere, inside Amma, balance begins to tilt. Not collapse, tilt. In Dogon cosmology, creation does not begin with perfection unfolding smoothly. It begins with disturbance, a deviance in symmetry, a necessary imperfection within total unity. You feel it now, a slight asymmetry, a misalignment, a flow, or perhaps intention. Inside the sphere, a pattern tries to express itself all at once. But total expression will annihilate distinction. So pressure builds instead, contained, compressed, urgent. And then a crack. Not sound, not explosion, division. Unity separates from itself. And in that separation, polarity is born. You witness two principles emerge, not enemies, complements. Among the Dogon, this dual emergence is expressed through the normal, twin intelligences, fluid, luminous, structured through balance and counterbalance. In Dahomey, polarity unfolds through Maulisa, light and dark, cool and warm, moon and sun, not as moral opposites, but as dynamic equilibrium. You stand between them, left, right, expansion, containment, stillness, motion. This is the first law. Difference. Without difference, nothing can relate. Without relation, nothing can exist. In modern cosmology, physicists speak of symmetry breaking, a moment in the early universe when perfect uniformity destabilized, allowing forces to differentiate: gravity from electromagnetism, matter from radiation. Again, do not confuse the languages, but recognize the resonance. Order requires imbalance. Expression requires fracture. The twins do not speak in human words, but you hear their logic. We emerge so that unity may know itself. We separate so that rhythm may begin. Between them, oscillation forms, back and forth, charge and response, wave and counterwave, the beginning of pattern. You feel it inside your own body. Heartbeat, breath, inhale, exhale. This is not coincidence. It is architecture repeating. Across the Nile Valley, the imagery shifts, but the structure remains. From the inert waters of Nun, a solitary presence arises. A tomb, self-generated, separating sky from earth, introducing vertical distinction where only horizontal vastness existed. Separation again, sky lifted, earth grounded, distance invented, and with distance, relationship. Among the Dinka of South Sudan, the sky once pressed against the earth, suffocating space itself, until separation created room for humanity to stand upright. Over and over, across regions, across languages, the same structural event: division. Now the vessel begins to vibrate, but what you are witnessing is not merely mythic rapture. It is the condition for everything you recognize as real. And this is where you must understand the stakes. If symmetry does not break, nothing forms. No particles, no stars, no chemistry, no life, no you. Everything you call reality depends on imbalance. Pause. Let that settle. The fracture you are watching is not destruction. It is generosity. Lean in, because this is the moment most people misunderstand. They think creation begins with order. It does not. It begins with instability, with tension too great to remain contained, with unity willing to divide itself so that multiplicity can breathe. And here is the part no one told you. You are structured the same way. Your psyche formed through rapture. You separated from your mother. You distinguished self from world. You fractured from unconscious unity into conscious polarity. Ego and shadow, reason and instinct, masculine and feminine currents within the same interior field. You are a living reenactment of cosmic symmetry breaking. The gods you are meeting are not distant beings. They are structural events. And they are happening inside you right now. Stay on the vessel. We are about to witness how polarity becomes law. The twins stabilize. Their oscillation becomes predictable. Predictability becomes rhythm. Rhythm becomes geometry. Lines appear. Axes form. A horizon stabilizes. For the first time, structure is visible. And from that structure comes law. Phase 3. The geometry of law. The oscillation steadies. Back and forth becomes measured. Measured becomes patterned. And pattern becomes visible. You rise above the field of polarity. What was once fluid now begins to draw lines. Not random lines, intentional ones. Across Central Africa, among the Bakongo, this architecture is mapped in a simple figure, a circle divided by a cross. The Dekenga. You see it now. A horizon line, a vertical axis, 4 points marking the movement of the sun. Birth, zenith, decline, midnight. It is not decoration. It is a diagram of existence. Move closer. At the horizontal line lies Kalunga, the threshold between visible and invisible realms. Life above, ancestral continuity below. Not heaven and hell, transition and return. The circle turns. Nothing moves forward endlessly. Everything cycles. Morning does not defeat night, it emerges from it. Death does not annihilate life, it reorganizes it. This is law, not moral law, structural law, cyclical inevitability. In modern astrophysics, stars are born from collapse. They burn, they expand, they shed matter, they die, and from their remnants, new stars form. The cosmos recycles itself through cycles of ignition and desolation. Again, different language, same rhythm. Cycle is not tragedy, it is architecture. You descend again towards the Nile. In pre-dynastic cosmology, before theology hardened into priestly system, creation was imagined not as a one-time event, but as a perpetual emergence. The rising of form from depth again and again, like land appearing from floodwaters. Stability requires repetition. Repetition requires pattern. Pattern requires geometry. You begin to see it everywhere. Spirals carved into Saharan rock faces long before recorded history. Concentric circles, radiating lines, repeating forms that mirror celestial motion. Not art for beauty alone, observation translated into symbol. Among the sand of southern Africa, trance dances map a vertical axis. Earth below, sky above, a central channel through which healers travel. A living axis mundi, a line connecting realms. Vertical distinction again, axis, cross, circle. These are not random shapes. They are cognitive compressions of cosmic structure. You look down at the Dikenka once more. The 4 moments of the sun do not merely describe the sky. They describe you. Birth, maturation, decline, transition. Your life is not linear. It is cyclical. Every crisis you have survived mirrors sunset. Every reinvention mirrors dawn. The architecture does not abandon you, it repeats through you. This is why geometry appears sacred, because it is predictable, because it endures, because its structures change without dissolving into chaos. Across Nilotic traditions, the separation of sky and earth is not permanent estrangement. It is a calibrated distance. Too close and nothing breathes. Too far and relation collapses. Balance, measurement, proportion. You begin to understand something deeper. The architects do not merely divide unity. They calibrate it. They established ratios, intervals, distance between forces so that motion would not destroy itself. In physics, stable atoms exist because opposing forces balance within narrow tolerances. Too much attraction, collapse. Too much repulsion, dispersion. Stability is precision. So is cosmology. The vessel slows. You are no longer overwhelmed by rapture. You are surrounded by structure. Circle, axis, cycle, threshold. These are not myths. These are maps. And maps are not worshipped. They are used. Let the silence return for a moment, because now the question changes. If the cosmos is structured this way, if polarity becomes rhythm and rhythm becomes geometry, then what are you? Are you an observer of this architecture or an instance of it? Stay on the vessel. The final revelation approaches. We are about to turn inward. Phase 4. The Microcosm Realization. The vessel stops moving, not because the journey is over, because you have arrived somewhere unexpected. Inside. The circle you saw in the sky is here. The axis you traced across cosmology is here. The fracture that divided unity is here. You thought you were observing the structure of reality. You were observing the structure of yourself. Return to the waters. Before you had language, you existed in undifferentiated awareness. No firm boundary between self and world. No stable I. Pure immersion. Psychology calls this pre-egoic unity. Cosmology calls it primordial depth. Different language, same architecture. Then something happened. Separation. You distinguished yourself from your surroundings. You formed identity, preference, boundary. Ego emerged, just as polarity emerged from the egg, the cosmic egg. Individuation is not a modern psychological concept alone. It is mythologized across Africa as division necessary for manifestation. Among the Akan, the living remain linked to the ancestral continuum. The Nananom Nsamanfo, not as ghosts, but as structural continuity. The line between visible and invisible is permeable, just as the Kalunga marks transition, not termination. You are not isolated, you are positioned. Position implies geometry. Geometry implies law. The twins you witnessed earlier, Nomo and Mawulisa, are not distant forces governing the sky. They are mirrored in your interior polarity, reason and instinct, order and impulse, masculine and feminine currents that move through psyche regardless of gender, conscious and shadow. In psychology, the process of individuation requires reconciliation of these internal opposites. Integration, balance, oscillation stabilized into harmony. The cosmos did this first. You are repeating it. Consider the Dikenga again, the 4 stages of the sun: birth, ascension, decline, transition. Your life has already moved through several cycles of this pattern, not once, repeatedly. Relationships, careers, identities, each dawn followed by zenith, each zenith followed by descent. You called it crisis. The cosmogram calls it inevitability. You thought decline meant failure. The architecture calls it rotation. Even the fracture, the instability that began everything, exists in you. You carry tension between who you are and who you might become, between inherited identity and self-chosen direction, between ancestral continuity and individual assertion. That tension is not malfunction. It is creative pressure. Without it, you would stagnate. The universe requires symmetry breaking to generate matter. You require psychological friction to generate growth. The pattern is fractal. It repeats at every scale. The sandhillar ascending the trans-axis, the Nile rising from noon, the Bakongo crossing the Kalunga, the Dogon describing imbalance within the cosmic egg. These are not separate mythic events. They are metaphors for interior ascent, interior separation, interior calibration. Africa did not merely preserve stories, it encoded process of becoming, process of structuring consciousness. And now something subtle shifts. You are no longer watching, you are recognizing. The vessel was never a machine. It was perspective. The architects were never distant. They were structural intelligences describing laws that still operate within your breath, your heartbeat, your cycles of destruction and renewal. You were searching for forgotten gods. You found recurring patterns. You were searching for deities. You found architecture. Phase 5. The Return. The darkness returns, not as ignorance, as completion. You rise from the waters, the sphere dissolves, the twins stabilize into rhythm, the cosmogram rotates silently beneath your awareness. Nothing spectacular happens, no thunder, no proclamation, just clarity. You understand now why they were called gods, not because they ruled, but because they structured. And what structures existence feels divine. The vessel slows. You feel gravity again. History returns. Language returns. But something has changed. You no longer see ancient African cosmology as mythology competing with science. You see it as symbolic ontology. A different grammar for the same structural truths. Not identical, not predictive physics, but architectonic, measured, observant, initiatory. You came searching for forgotten gods. You leave understanding that you are shaped by the same architecture they described. Polarity, cycle, threshold, fracture, return. The cosmos is not random chaos barely holding itself together. It is calibrated tension. So are you. And that is why they matter. If this journey shifted something in you, if you felt the architecture rather than merely heard it, then you are already participating in what those cosmologies were designed to awaken. You did not just watch a video. You underwent a pattern. You descended into unity. You witnessed division. You saw polarity stabilize into law. You recognized the architecture within yourself. That recognition is not entertainment. It is initiation. And initiation always asks something in return. not belief, attention. If this shifted your perception even slightly, then do not let it fade into background noise. Sit with it. Observe your own cycles this week. Notice your own polarity. Watch where tension is trying to create something new inside you. That is how this knowledge lives. And if you feel called to continue to explore more of Africa's metaphysical architecture, its archetypes, its cosmic psychology, then remain with this current. Subscribe not out of habit, subscribe as alignment. Because House of Horus is not building content. It is building continuity between past and future, between symbol and psyche, between architecture and awareness. The architects are not gone. They are remembered through those who look deeply enough to see. Until the next descent. Thanks for joining me. Join me again next time. This is the House of Horus. Signing out.